UFC 311 is officially over. Islam Makhachev remains your UFC lightweight champion by defeating Renato Moicano in the first round by submission with a Darce choke. This entire card was great. I actually really enjoyed this pay-per-view card. I thought every fight on the card was fun. There was a lot of fun matchups. The co-main event was insane. Everybody thought Umar was going to beat Merab. Merab shows his pace and cardio. Jamal Hill got knocked out, TKO'd by Jiri Prochazka. There was a lot of fun fights on this card. We're going to go through them. But starting off in the main event, we were supposed to get Arman Tsarukyan and Islam Makhachev. 24 hours before the fight, Arman pulls out due to back injury. We really don't know what happened or what the extent of the injury is, or if there is an injury. Maybe he couldn't make weight. We really don't know, and we'll never know unless Arman comes out about it. So Renato Moicano steps up, gives his best fight he could in 4 minutes. He looked good on the feet. There was a moment where Renato Moicano, it looked like he dropped Islam. That didn't happen. Islam did slip, and the video will be showing. There's a moment where Islam is stepping into range, and there's a exchange between Renato Moicano and Islam Makhachev. Renato Moicano hits Islam with a right uppercut, but it doesn't hit him in the chin. It hits him in the chest. And as he hits him, Islam Makhachev's legs are parallel, and Islam moves his head back, which made him slip back and fall. So he didn't get dropped. For everybody saying Renato Moicano dropped Islam, he didn't. I thought he did. I had to go back and rewatch it in slow-mo. He just slipped. He was unbalanced and fell back. But Islam Makhachev did what he did. This is what he does. I mean, he's very patient. The difference between Islam and Khabib is that Khabib would make everybody push to their limit, right? He would force his will onto them, and he just would suffocate everybody. Islam can do the same thing that Khabib did when he was champion, but he can do it more technically, and he doesn't have to rush it, right? You saw it in the first 2 minutes where there was that exchange on the feet between Renato and Islam, where you're thinking, damn, Renato can land some good shots. He just has to find his range and land, some good body kicks and some punches up top to really get Islam to move. And the moment Renato Moicano started landing on the feet pretty good, Islam immediately takes down Renato Moicano and did exactly what he needed to do. Forced the scramble, had Renato Moicano on his side, puts up the Darce choke, and chokes out Renato Moicano in 4 minutes in the first round. This was an impressive performance, without a doubt. This is what sucks with Islam Makhachev, is that he is so dominant, and he is for sure pound for pound #1 in the UFC. What sucks is that if you look at Islam Makhachev's record, it feels like he kind of gets screwed over, and it's not his fault, right? He has like the Dan Hooker win on him, the Bobby Green, Volkanovski on short notice, the Charles Oliveira. He has good wins on his record, but could you imagine if he would fight the people that didn't pull out of his fight and he would have those wins under his record, right? Imagine if Arman never would have pulled out. He would have had Arman Tsarukyan on his record. Imagine if Charles Oliveira 2 never pulled out the second time when he cut his head open, and he would have had Charles Oliveira on his record twice on a full camp. Imagine if RDA or Beneil Dariush never pulled out, I think it was in 2020 against Islam Makhachev, and he would have those wins under his belt. Like, yes, Dan Hooker, Bobby Green, Volkanovski on short notice, Renato Moicano are good fighters, and they're good wins on Islam Makhachev's record. But imagine if he would just fight the people or have the wins under his record that was scheduled to happen. Imagine if he had a Beneil Dariush, an RDA, Charles Oliveira 2 on camp, Arman Tsarukyan 2 on his record. He would be without a doubt the best lightweight in the UFC, probably of all time. He would surpass Khabib. But because, these people pull out of these fights, Arman Tsarukyan, Charles Oliveira the second time, he can't fight RDA or Beneil Dariush early on in his career. There is that weird stain on his career where it's like, of course Islam Makhachev is good, and he's got great wins. Dan Hooker is a good fighter. Bobby Green is good. Renato Moicano is good. But, if he could have those original fights that was supposed to happen on his record, he would be, without a doubt, the best UFC lightweight champion of all time. But, you kind of do what you have to do, and that's why he is pound for pound number one. He fights these guys on short notice. Fight Volkanovski the second time on short notice. Fight Renato Moicano on short notice. Tough fighters on a tough short notice. It's impressive. Islam Makhachev, what's next? Definitely you can't give Arman Tsarukyan the championship right away, because if you can't do that to Charles Oliveira when he got a cut on his head from sparring, the week before he was supposed to fight Islam, you can't do it for Arman. I think what you do is Arman versus Charles 2, a 5-round fight, and the winner of that fights Islam Makhachev. I think that is fair. Charles Oliveira's coming off the win against Chandler, and I think that's only right. You run that fight back. Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan 2, 5 rounds, a main event. Put it on a fight night. Go to Brazil and do a fight night card there, or go to, somewhere in the States and do that. That's Islam Makhachev's next test. And then whoever he beats between those two again, let him move up to welterweight. There's really no more challenges in the lightweight division. And I'm kind of tired of seeing Islam fight these featherweights, right? Renato Moicano is originally a featherweight, Volkanovski a featherweight, and people are talking about Ilia Topuria moving up and fighting Islam. I don't want to see that. Like, it would be a great fight, don't get me wrong. Islam versus Ilia Topuria, great fight. But come on, I'm tired of seeing Islam fight these featherweights. I want to see him move up, go to welterweight, challenge someone like a Colby Covington or a Kumar Usman, maybe a Jack Della Maddalena, Leon Edwards, Sean Brady. Sean Brady versus Islam Makhachev is a very interesting, intriguing fight. I want to see that. After you run Charles versus Arman Tsarukyan 2, 5 rounds, I think, yeah, you can do that. Move Islam up to welterweight. Let him see what he can do in welterweight division. I think that's only fair. In the co-main event, Merab Dvalishvili surprises everyone. He surprised me. Even in my prediction video, I said, I don't know why a lot of people are counting out Merab, but I am going with Umar. I think he's more technical, and I just think over time, I think he's his kryptonite, right? That is verbatim what I said. Damn, I was close, but I should have not chosen Umar. Literally, the X factor in this fight, like we said in our prediction video, was the cardio and pace. Who can dictate the pace and cardio the best? And that was Merab. First 2 rounds, Umar definitely won the fight. He was looking really good with the kicks. Like we thought, his range was really good. He kept on throwing that front kick that was beautiful, and he would also throw that teep up. And he was controlling Merab. And then right in the middle of the second round, beginning of the third round, Merab literally just pushed his pace, kept on pushing Umar back, kept on forcing Umar to guess for the takedowns. He went for multiple takedowns. He actually broke GSP's record against Umar, which was quite insane. Umar said, you're not going to break the record against me. And he did. Merab completely dominated Umar Nurmagomedov, which was surprising. Gives him his first ever loss in his professional record. I think Merab really is underrated in this bantamweight division, and now we got to start considering him being one of the greatest bantamweights of all time, which is crazy to say, but we have to. The fact that he has now beaten Umar Nurmagomedov, Sean O'Malley, which that's a good win, Peter Yan, Henry Cejudo, Jose Aldo, and just dominating these guys. It's not like this is a close split decision win. These are complete unanimous decision wins, dominating people, dominating Henry Cejudo, dominating Umar, dominating Peter Yan. I mean, what Merab has done in this bantamweight division has seriously questioned, is there anybody that can defeat Merab? Can anybody in the bantamweight division put up that pace, right? What fight is next for Merab? Do you run the Peter Yan fight back? I mean, Peter Yan got dominated by Merab. He got, 50-something takedown attempts against him? I don't think Peter Yan does anything against Merab the second time. And Merab just looks like he's getting better and better. That's the one thing that is what's insane about Merab. There is no slow pace. There's no slow interaction. Merab, the moment he has to win the fight, and you saw it in his corner when Ray Longo was like, hey, this is your time. You got 10 minutes left. Put the pace on him. Do not let up. Put it on him. Merab literally didn't stop. And then he's showboating in the 5th round, just mocking Umar. Merab, without a doubt, I think he has to be considered the bantamweight GOAT. I mean, I know a lot of people like Dominic Cruz, and, you got to throw Aljamain Sterling's name in there, right, for bantamweight GOATs. But I think Merab might have just passed Aljamain Sterling in conversations of the bantamweight GOAT and on level of opponents. I mean, beating Umar the way he did, beating that last name, Nurmagomedov, beating a Nurmagomedov by outpacing them and out wrestling them is impressive. The fact that a Georgian guy, a fighter, outdid that to a Dagestani Russian wrestler just shows you the levels of hard work and insanity that this guy has, right? Merab, I would like to see him fight. I'd like to see him take some time off, honestly. You know, he had a short turnaround from Sean O'Malley to Umar Nurmagomedov. You know, give him some time. Maybe we do a fight between Sean O'Malley and Peter Yan, run that fight back, and then the winner fights Merab. But honestly, I don't see a difference in the fight. If Merab fights Peter Yan, and I love Peter Yan, and I just don't see a difference. I don't think there's anything different that Sean O'Malley or Peter Yan can do that can beat Merab. Right now, I feel like Merab is literally the machine. I don't think anybody can stop him unless or until we find a new contender. But as of right now, let's see Merab take a good break, and let's see maybe Sean O'Malley versus Peter Yan. I think that's a right fight, a rematch for number one contender, and maybe we do that sometime in the late of the year, November, December, and see what can happen. In the feature fight, in the co main event, the feature fight, Jiri Prochazka dominated and destroyed and beat and TK'd Jamal Hill. Everybody thought Jamal Hill was going to outstrike, outbox, and be more technical than Jiri Prochazka. Jiri Prochazka has no defense. He has no striking defense. He leaves his hands down. He doesn't move his head. And he still doesn't, but he did a better job in this fight than he did in previous fights, especially against the Alex Pereira fight. Jiri Prochazka TK'd Jamal Hill in the third round. And the first round, he drops him with a left hook. It was like, oh shit, Jamal Hill's getting beat up. Second round, you could start to see where Jiri Prochazka was moving his head a lot better. He was slipping a lot better. And you could see those moments where Jiri had to remind himself, bring his hands up. Jamal Hill would throw like a 1-2, or he would throw like an overhand right. Jiri would get hit, and then you would see Jiri be like, oh shit, and bring his hands up and then start to move around with his hands up and his head, which, you know, helped him win the fight, obviously, because there was times where Jamal Hill, dude, he's tough. Jamal Hill is a tough dude. He stayed in there and landed some big shots against Jiri. Jiri didn't just, I mean, there was a couple times where Jiri got wobbled, and you're thinking, damn, Jamal Hill might knock out Jiri. But in the third round, Jiri Prochazka throws a right hook. He throws a left hook, then a right hook. Drops Jamal Hill, gets on top of him, grounds and pounds, and beats Jamal Hill. This was an impressive fight for Jiri Prochazka, a good bounce-back win. If it wasn't for those Alex Pereira losses, Jiri Prochazka would be the light heavyweight champ. I would love to see it. I would love to see the trilogy with Alex Pereira. It did get announced yesterday. Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira are fighting in March, so we will see that be settled. If Alex Pereira loses to Magomed Ankalaev and they don't run the rematch, I want to see Magomed Ankalaev and Jiri Prochazka. I think that would be a very fun fight. Jiri Prochazka has literally beaten everybody except for Alex Pereira. Dominated Rakic, beat Jamal Hill impressively. He's doing good things in the light heavyweight division. It's just the Alex Pereira fight that kind of screwed him over. Jiri looked good against Glover Teixeira, so I mean, Yuri's still that dude. He's still that dog. He's still wild. His defense isn't that amazing, right? He still had a lot of problems, but he showcased his win, looked good, landed a lot of damaging punches, and he kept on. He was still wild. Jiri Prochazka was still wild and beat Jamal Hill. For Jamal Hill, I'd like to see him take some time off. I think, honestly, the next fight for Jamal Hill has to be Khalil Roundtree. Run that fight. It was supposed to happen. It didn't happen. Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree, I think, is a fun fight. Give him some time off. He had 2 knee braces on. I don't know what that was about. Maybe, you know, something with his knee or ACL. I don't know. But that was a good fight. That was my fight of the night. Jiri Prochazka looked incredible. Another fight, we're going to skip the Jolton Almeida fight. I didn't really care for that one. It was all right. Kevin Holland and Rainer de Ritter. Kevin Holland, man, he's just fallen off. From 2020 to now, it is crazy just how Kevin Holland has just fallen off. He just does not look good anymore. The moment he gets taken down, it's like he already has an excuse built in. Like, oh, I'm injured, or oh, I wasn't ready. Oh, I didn't want to go to the ground with this guy. Like, Rainer de Ritter, former champion, I think in ONE FC, just completely mauled Kevin Holland, took him down, submitted him. Kevin Holland is just washed, bro. And I don't like how he goes from middleweight to welterweight, middleweight. He is just a money fighter. Not that good. Got completely mauled by Rainer de Ritter. I would like to see Rainer de Ritter now in the middleweight division look for a top 5 fight. I think he is ready. Maybe have him fight someone like a Paulo Costa. Jared Cannonier would be another good fight. Maybe do Marvin Vettori. Those are all fun fights for Reiner de Ridder. Last fight I would love to talk about is Payton Talbott versus Barcelos. Payton Talbott got exposed, completely exposed. His ground game was completely shit. He couldn't defend any takedowns until the third round, and he started looking better in the second and third round on his feet. But it just seemed like Payton Talbott did not. It looked like there was no effort behind him. It didn't seem like he was like trying to win. It just he looked too calm to be losing. I don't know what that was about. There was no like urgency on his part in the second or third round. Barcelos literally took him down in the first round, second round, third round. I think there was a 30-26 scorecard, 10-8 rounds, which was insane. Barcelos completely dominated him, 19-5. He's a veteran, older guy, and it just shows Payton Talbott maybe he's just not ready for the bantamweight top 15 yet. You know, maybe he still needs some work to do, work on that ground game, work on the grappling defense, and maybe he'll find his way in the top rankings. Barcelos, though, completely dominated him. Last fight I want to talk about was actually a really good fight. Carla Rosas versus Ailin Perez. Great fight. Perez just completely dominated Carla Rosas in the grappling department, took her down. She was getting hit a lot on the feet, and her legs were getting chewed up. But Ailin Perez completely dominated Carla Rosas, which I didn't think was going to happen. I thought Carla Rosas was going to win with a striking. Her striking has always been pretty good. She has good knees, good kicks, but Ailin Perez just completely dominated her in her grappling, is now looking her way maybe in the top 10 in the bantamweight division, in the women's bantamweight division. But that was UFC 311 results. Let me know what y'all think about this card. Let me know who, Islam should fight next. What we do with Arman Tsarukyan. Does he rematch Charles Oliveira, or do we, kind of let him sit on the sideline until we figure something out? What do we do with Merab? Who does he fight next? And, of course, Jiri Prochazka. Where does he go? Does he fight the winner of Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira? Does he get the trilogy? Or should he, fight another contender fight and look for another win before he fights for the championship? Let me know in the comment section about UFC 311, who you want to see and all that good stuff. But be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next video.